Now, water may be a basic right every South African is entitled to, but the quality and quantity thereof is still a debatable question. While thousands find themselves fetching water with buckets, others are forced to do their washing by the river, the same one children play in and other people use to source drinking water downstream. The Department of Water and Sanitation is in the process of establishing a national resource infrastructure agency to tackle these issues. Professor Anya du Plessis from UNISA joins me now to discuss this, along with how exactly this agency aims to address and resolve these issues. Thank you very much, Prof, for your time here on All Angles. Yet another agency to look into our water crisis in South Africa. Compared to other agencies and committees that have been established through different ministers in this portfolio, how is this one going to make a difference?
That's a very interesting question, and we'll only know when this is finally established. Thus, we must remember that this has been ongoing since 2008. We're now in 2022. It's almost like the electricity crisis that we have at this point in time, where, people are coming up with plans, you're putting things on paper, but there's no actual action taking place.
And we know that government keeps saying that they've made many strides since 1994. And look, we do agree. But, according to your research, how many South Africans really, or what's the percentage, if you could roughly tell us, have access to clean, drinkable water?
Look, the statistics at this point in time, it varies. It depends on which report you look at. The minister said that it's 83%. Other statistics say it's lower, other statistics say it's higher. But at the end of the day, we have to view the statistics as a whole. So just to say that you are giving the population access coming out of their taps.
And looking at what we saw in Nelson Mandela Bay, at some point Cape Town was also facing day zero, etc. How's it looking for the country as a whole? Are we going to get to a point where really access to water is a more serious problem if government doesn't act now?
Look, I think we are already experiencing numerous problems across the country. If you ask any rural person, they will tell you that water is like a blessing at this point in time. Even though they do have access to water, they have the infrastructure there, but the taps are either stolen or they don't work. They say that we are giving access to people, as I said before. Does not mean that we actually have water supply. Then you also have the issue of the quality of water, which is an issue in some regions of the country. Durban, for example, is a major issue at this point in time. We need to keep focus on these areas, and we need to make sure that we expose these areas to create awareness for the whole population, as well as for government as well.
And coming to infrastructure, I mean, last week or the week before, my colleague Manqoba Mchunu was with community members in Gwandengezi, if I'm not mistaken, but one of the areas in KZN that were badly affected by the flood. And we did ask those questions back in April about waterborne diseases that might emanate from those floods if the infrastructure is not fixed as quickly as possible. And now you found those residents telling Manqoba that they are unable, or that they've been told by the municipality not to drink the water, and they showed us the water. One person actually saying that they're so ill they keep using the toilet too many times in a day. Now, how important is it that the government fast tracks the infrastructure? I mean, they keep saying that South Africa is a water scarce country, etc., that we get our water from Lesotho, etc. But what is it that they can do really to make sure that at least the water that we do get is safe?
Look, at this point in time, we have to actually just put the stuff on paper into action. Instead of saying that so many billion rand is given to infrastructure, we should actually spend that money to where it is needed at this point in time. I do not see in most of the examples, like another example is Giyani in Limpopo, where those people still do not have access to water. And it's been how many years that this project has been ongoing. The government saying that no, they will investigate, they will make progress. But Hammanskraal is another example. There are so many examples across the country where people are struggling with water, either getting it out of their taps or as you say, they are becoming seriously ill because the water is not being treated properly.
Well, hopefully they listen. I mean, you say since 2008, so basically by 2018 it was 10 years, and now we're facing another decade speaking about the same crisis, and yet no action really has been taken. Thank you very much, Professor, for speaking to us here on All Angles. That was Professor Anya du Plessis from UNISA.